Broken Alliance. The Grand Hall of the Interstellar Coalition headquarters on Nexus Station gleamed under artificial starlight. Commander Elena Reyes adjusted her formal diplomatic uniform as she scanned the assembly of alien representatives. After 15 years of humanity's membership in the coalition of 23 spacefaring civilizations, she still marveled at the diversity. The serpentine Vosh with their iridescent scales, the crystalline meridians who communicated through light patterns, the imposing Ursine Grevar delegates towering over most attendees. Elena represented Earth's diplomatic corps at this routine summit, supposedly a celebration of interspecies cooperation. The coalition had brought an era of unprecedented prosperity to humanity. Earth and its colonies had gained access to advanced technologies, new worlds for expansion, and protection under the Coalition Security Accord. Commander Reyes, a voice chimed from behind. How delightful to see Earth's finest diplomat. She turned to find Ambassador Threll, the Ardaxian representative. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture she'd learned indicated discomfort despite his pleasant tone. Ambassador, the pleasure is mine, Elena responded, her diplomat's instincts instantly alert. I expected you would be in the preliminary council session this morning. Yes, well. Threll's secondary arms twitched beneath his ceremonial robes. Urgent matters. Nothing to concern yourself with. Before she could probe further, her neural implant vibrated. An encrypted priority message from Earth Command flashed across her retinal display. Return to Earth EMBSSY, MMEDAKLI. Security breach, Leviel Alpha. Elena excused herself and moved quickly through the crowded chamber. As she passed clusters of delegates, she noticed something alarming. Conversations halting as she approached, alien representatives avoiding eye contact or deliberately turning away. Something was very wrong. The Earth Embassy on Nexus Station operated as a sovereign territory. Once inside its secure walls, Elena was escorted to the Emergency Command Center, where Admiral Kazuo Takeda awaited. His weathered face appeared even more lined than usual beneath the harsh lighting. Commander, I'm activating your contingency clearance, Takeda said without preamble. What I'm about to tell you is known to fewer than 50 people in human space. A holographic display materialized between them, showing coalition warships moving into positions around humanity's 5 major colony worlds. 6 hours ago, the Coalition Security Council passed a quarantine resolution against Earth and all human settlements. Takeda continued. They've revoked our membership and declared humanity a developmental risk to galactic stability. Elena's blood ran cold. On what grounds? Official reason. Dangerous technological acceleration and genetic modification potential. Unofficial reason. Fear. Takeda's eyes hardened. Our scientific progress has outpaced their predictions. Multiple coalition analysts now project humans will technologically surpass the founding species within a generation. This is insane, Elena said. The coalition charter explicitly protects the development rights of all member species. Charter be damned. The resolution passed with only 3 abstentions: the Meridians, the Lokari, and surprisingly, the Grevar. Takeda expanded the holographic display, showing more coalition ships converging on human space. The quarantine is effectively a blockade. No ships in or out of human systems. Communication restricted to approved channels. Elena processed the implications. 15 years of diplomacy, cultural exchange, and mutual defense, rendered meaningless in a single council vote. What's our response? She asked. Admiral Takeda's expression shifted subtly. That's what I need to brief you on. Have you ever heard of Phantom Shield? Elena frowned. No. Good. That means our security protocols worked. Takeda activated a secure terminal. When humanity joined the coalition, we publicly decommissioned our military fleet as required by the accession treaties. We converted our warships to scientific and commercial vessels. I remember the ceremony. It was broadcast across human space, Elena said. Takeda nodded. What wasn't broadcast was the directive issued by the Unified Earth government the same day. Project Phantom Shield, a contingency plan authorizing the covert construction and maintenance of a defense fleet beyond Coalition scanning range. Elena stared at him in disbelief. You're saying we've been building a secret military force for 15 years. How is that even possible without detection? The outer reaches of the Kuiper Belt, stealth technology, shell corporations, and a massive disinformation campaign. Takeda's voice carried a hint of pride. Every Coalition inspection of our shipyards found exactly what we wanted them to find. The hologram changed to reveal what appeared to be massive hidden construction facilities and hundreds of sleek warships unlike any Elena had ever seen. Currently, the Coalition believes we have exactly 217 vessels, all civilian. The reality. Takeda's lips curled into a grim smile. Phantom Shield maintains a fleet of 879 combat-ready ships with technologies the Coalition doesn't even know we've developed. Elena felt her diplomatic worldview crumbling. 15 years of her career spent building bridges between species, fostering trust and cooperation, all while her own government prepared for this very betrayal. Why tell me this now? Because you're about to become extremely important, Commander, Takeda said. The President has authorized Operation Starfall, our response to the Coalition's betrayal. And you're our diplomatic spearhead. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of briefings and preparation. Elena learned that Earth had been developing technologies in secret, advancements in quantum propulsion, shield harmonics, and weapons systems that incorporated principles from multiple alien sciences, but recombined in ways the Coalition races hadn't explored. Humanity had been playing a long game, appearing compliant while preparing for exactly this scenario. On her secure terminal, Elena watched real-time footage of the Coalition blockade strengthening around New Terra, humanity's most populous colony. Families were being separated, supply ships turned away. The Coalition was effectively imprisoning 20 million humans on the planet's surface. They've miscalculated, said Director Amara Chen, head of Earth Intelligence, during the final briefing. They think we'll either accept their terms or make a symbolic protest. They don't expect a meaningful military response. What exactly am I negotiating for? Elena asked. If we're revealing our military capacity, the diplomatic damage is already done. President Sofia Okafor's voice came through the communication array. You're not negotiating from weakness, Commander. You're delivering terms. The Coalition violated its own charter by acting against us without warning or due process. We want 3 things: immediate withdrawal of all Coalition ships from human space, restoration of our full membership rights, and a formal inquiry into who orchestrated this betrayal. And if they refuse, then Admiral Wei and the first battle group of Phantom Shield will demonstrate why that would be unwise, the President replied. But we prefer a return to peaceful relations, just on more honest terms. Elena studied the mission parameters. She would travel to Nexus Station on the UES Harbinger, a diplomatic vessel that was actually one of Phantom Shield's most advanced warships, disguised as a standard diplomatic courier. Meanwhile, the rest of the fleet would position itself strategically throughout Coalition space, ready to reveal itself at a coordinated moment. Commander, President Okafor said before ending the briefing, 15 years ago, humanity joined the stars hoping for genuine partnership. We prepared for betrayal while praying it would never come. Your job is to make the Coalition understand that humanity cannot be caged, but we can still be allies if they choose wisely. 26 hours later, Elena stood on the bridge of the Harbinger as it approached Nexus Station. To all external sensors, it appeared to be a small diplomatic vessel carrying the human negotiation team. In reality, it housed weapons capable of disabling the station's defenses within seconds. Coalition Control is hailing us, reported Lieutenant Park at Communications. They're ordering us to turn back, citing the quarantine resolution. Open a channel, Elena said, straightening her uniform. The view screen activated to show a Vosh controller, scales shifting from blue to orange in agitation. Human vessel, you are in violation of Security Council Directive 1572. Return to Earth space immediately or face defensive action. Elena stepped forward. This is Commander Elena Reyes of Earth Diplomatic Corps. I am here as an official representative to address the illegal actions taken against humanity. We request immediate docking and an emergency session of the full Coalition Council. Your membership has been suspended, the Vosh replied. No human representatives are recognized at this time. Let me be perfectly clear, Elena said, her voice steady. We will dock at Nexus Station. You will convene the council. The alternative is considerably less pleasant for everyone. The Vosh's scales rippled with color patterns indicating confusion and alarm. Your single vessel cannot force. Lieutenant Park, Elena interrupted. Please activate Visual Protocol Omega. Yes, Commander. The Harbinger's advanced systems interfaced with every display on Nexus Station. Across the station, screens flickered to show the same image. Hundreds of human warships decloaking simultaneously at strategic points throughout Coalition space. We are not a single vessel, Elena said calmly. As we speak, 879 ships of the Earth Defense Fleet have revealed themselves in Coalition territory. Each is under strict orders to avoid firing first, but all are authorized to respond to any hostile action. The Vosh controller's scales bleached nearly white in shock. Now, Elena continued, about that docking permission and emergency council session. As the Harbinger approached Nexus Station's diplomatic bay, Elena gazed out at the stars. She had spent her career believing in the promise of interspecies cooperation. Now she would need to use the threat of force to salvage what remained of that dream. The Coalition had betrayed humanity. Now humanity would show them exactly what they had awakened. Showing our teeth. The Grand Council chamber of Nexus Station had never been so silent. Nearly 200 representatives from 23 spacefaring civilizations sat frozen as Elena Reyes stood at the central podium. Above them, the massive holographic display showed real-time footage of human warships positioned throughout Coalition space, sleek, angular vessels with unfamiliar configurations that had appeared simultaneously at critical junctions, communication hubs, and trade centers. As you can see, Elena continued, her voice echoing in the cavernous chamber, the Earth Defense Fleet is now active in all sectors. Each vessel carries strict orders not to fire unless fired upon. We are not here to start a war. We are here to prevent one. High Chancellor Vex of the Ardaxian Dominion rose from his seat, his quad-jointed limbs trembling with either rage or fear. This is an act of aggression unparalleled in Coalition history. You've smuggled an invasion fleet into our territory, while feigning compliance with disarmament treaties. Elena met his 4 eyes steadily. Interesting perspective, Chancellor. We call it prudent insurance against exactly the kind of betrayal you executed 3 days ago. The Coalition Security Council voted to quarantine an entire species without warning, due process, or right of appeal, a direct violation of Articles 4, 17, and 23 of the Coalition Charter that your ancestors helped draft. Another delegate rose, a meridian whose crystalline body refracted light into dazzling patterns. The human speaks truth. Its voice resonated through a translator. The quarantine vote violated procedure. Many member worlds, including ours, received no notification of the session. Chancellor Vex's secondary arms twitched in irritation. The Security Council determined the matter required immediate action. The rate of human technological advancement. Is that what this is about? Elena interrupted. You're afraid of our progress. Your species advanced from planetary flight to gravitic manipulation in less than 1 standard century. The Ardaxian's voice rose. Coalition stability requires technological balance. Our predictive models show humans surpassing founding species technologies within a decade. Elena's diplomatic training helped her maintain composure, but inside she burned with indignation. So this isn't about security at all. It's about maintaining your technological advantage, your power. She tapped her console, changing the holographic display to show the Coalition blockade around human colonies, focusing on New Terra where civilian ships were being turned away, including medical supply vessels. While we debate, 20 million human colonists face resource shortages. Is this the coalition of equals that promised to usher in a new era of galactic cooperation? Or was that always a lie? A low murmur rippled through the chamber as representatives exchanged uneasy glances. Many seemed genuinely surprised by the footage. "The human makes valid points," rumbled the Grevar representative, his massive ursine form rising ponderously. "My government abstained from the quarantine vote precisely because it circumvented established protocols. I move for immediate suspension of the quarantine pending full council review." "Out of order." Chancellor Vex snapped. "The Security Council's decision stands." Elena watched the room carefully. Division was emerging exactly as Earth intelligence had predicted. The powerful founding species, led by the Ardaxians, had orchestrated the quarantine, but many middle and lesser powers appeared genuinely disturbed by the methods used. This was the diplomatic opening she needed. In the secure communications room adjacent to the council chamber, Elena spoke privately with President Okafor and Admiral Wei, whose flagship Defiance commanded the largest contingent of the revealed fleet. "The coalition is fracturing along predictable lines," Elena reported. "The founding species support the quarantine, but at least 8 secondary powers appear genuinely surprised by the Security Council's actions." "As we suspected," President Okafor said, her holographic image flickering slightly. "The Ardaxian-led faction acted without full coalition support." "Admiral, status of our forces." Admiral Wei's weathered face remained impassive. Phantom shield units maintain position at all strategic points. Coalition military vessels are on high alert, but have taken no aggressive actions. They're clearly stunned by our numbers and positioning. Most concerning is a battle group assembling near the Rigel corridor. Ardaxian ships primarily, with Bosch support. "They're preparing a show of force," Elena noted. "Let them," Admiral Wei said calmly. "Our technological edge is greater than they realize. The quantum shield alone makes their weapons 20% less effective against our vessels." President Okafor nodded. "Commander Reyes, return to the council with our terms. Make it clear we prefer diplomatic resolution, but we are prepared for alternatives." When Elena returned to the council chamber, the atmosphere had changed. Representatives were clustered in groups, engaged in heated discussions. The holographic display had been enlarged to show the full extent of the human fleet's deployment, a clear message from coalition leadership attempting to rally support against the human threat. Elena took her position at the podium once more. The chamber gradually fell silent. "Representatives of the Interstellar Coalition," she began, "humanity joined this alliance 15 years ago in good faith. We shared our culture, opened our worlds, and contributed to mutual defense and scientific advancement. In return, we've been designated a threat and quarantined without warning or recourse." She paused, making eye contact with key representatives. "The United Earth government presents 3 non-negotiable demands. First, immediate withdrawal of all coalition forces from human space. Second, restoration of our full membership with enhanced autonomy protections. Third, a formal inquiry into the Security Council's violation of Coalition Charter." Chancellor Vex leaped to his feet. "You dare present demands while your weapons target our worlds. This is coercion through military threat." "An interesting position," Elena replied coolly, "considering your forces currently blockade peaceful human colonies. Is it only coercion when humans possess the means to resist?" The Meridian representative's crystalline form pulsed with light patterns. "The Coalition's founding principle was equality among spacefaring civilizations. If we've betrayed that principle through our actions against humanity, we must acknowledge our error." "Equality?" Chancellor Vex's secondary arms gesticulated wildly. "Look at the display. They've built a secret military fleet while pretending compliance with disarmament treaties. They've positioned weapons throughout our territory. And now they demand concessions. Alina's voice cut through the rising commotion. Let's be perfectly transparent, Chancellor. Your faction pushed through the quarantine because your technological superiority was threatened. You claimed to welcome humanity as equals while ensuring we would always remain junior partners. When our development outpaced your comfortable timeline, you acted to contain us. She tapped her console again, revealing the new set of images, classified Coalition Security Council documents outlining contingency plans for controlling human expansion that predated the quarantine by years. These records, accessed from your own secure archives, show this betrayal was planned long ago. You never intended humanity to achieve true parity within the Coalition. The chamber erupted in chaos as representatives demanded explanations. Several of the secondary powers appeared genuinely shocked by the revealed documents. In the midst of the uproar, Alina's neural implant vibrated with an urgent message from Admiral Y. Coalition battle group moving aggressively toward our position at Rigel Corridor appear to be targeting our communications array. Alina made an instant decision. She entered a command sequence on her console, and the holographic display shifted to show live footage from that sector. The assembled representatives fell silent as they watched an Ardaxian destroyer accelerate toward a smaller human vessel. What we are witnessing, Alina announced, is an Ardaxian warship preparing to fire on our communications relay. Admiral Wei, you are authorized to demonstrate defensive capabilities. Protocol Aegis only. On the display, the human vessel suddenly activated previously concealed systems. A shimmering energy field expanded around it as the Ardaxian ship fired. The energy weapons discharged against the shield, which absorbed and then redirected the energy harmlessly into space. Gasps echoed through the chamber. That's impossible, whispered a Vosh representative loud enough to be heard. Energy redirection at that scale. What you're seeing is just one of the technologies humanity developed in secret, Alina stated. Not for aggression, but for survival. We hoped never to need them. She turned directly to Chancellor Vex. You have a choice, Chancellor. Continue this ill-advised aggression and discover what else we've developed, or return to the principles of cooperation that supposedly founded this coalition. The next 6 hours transformed galactic politics. The Coalition Council, presented with evidence of the Security Council's procedural violations and faced with humanity's unexpected military capability, voted to suspend the quarantine immediately. An emergency committee was formed to investigate the actions taken against humanity and review the Coalition Charter's power structures. In the diplomatic suite assigned to the human delegation, Alina received the news from President Okafor. You've succeeded beyond our expectations, Commander, the President said. The quarantine has been lifted. Our colonies report Coalition forces withdrawing from orbit. It's only the beginning, Alina replied. Chancellor Vex's faction is wounded but not defeated. They'll regroup and find subtler methods to contain us. Which is why we've accepted the compromise, President Okafor explained. Our status within the coalition will be reclassified as an independent associate member rather than full integration. We maintain our own defense forces openly, contribute to shared initiatives selectively, and retain veto rights over coalition actions affecting human space. Alina nodded slowly. Semi-autonomy within the coalition framework. Exactly. We'll cooperate where beneficial and maintain independence where necessary. The President's holographic image smiled slightly. Not the peaceful integration we hoped for 15 years ago, but perhaps more honest. As the transmission ended, Alina moved to the viewport overlooking Nexus Station's central hub. Below, representatives from various species continued heated discussions. The revelation of humanity's capabilities had fundamentally altered the balance of power throughout known space. Commander. Lieutenant Park appeared at the door. Admiral Wei requests your presence aboard the Defiance for the strategic coordination meeting. Alina nodded. Tell him I'll be there shortly. Alone again, she gazed out at the stars beyond the station. The idealist in her mourned what could have been. A genuine partnership of civilizations working together in trust. But the realist understood that trust must be built on honesty, not subordination disguised as alliance. The coalition had shown its true face. Humanity had shown its teeth. Whatever came next would be based on mutual respect rather than pretense. As she prepared to depart for the Defiance, Alina received one final message from Ambassador Threll, the Ardaxian who had awkwardly greeted her at the summit just days ago. The message was brief. "We underestimated your species. That mistake will not be repeated." Neither threat nor concession. Simply acknowledgement. It would have to be enough for now. Humanity's place among the stars had changed forever. They were no longer junior partners to be managed and controlled. They had earned their seat at the table, not through diplomacy alone, but through foresight and strength. The stars had betrayed them, but humanity had been ready. As the Harbinger detached from Nexus Station and rejoined the fleet, new diplomatic protocols were already being established throughout Coalition space. The quarantine was over. The blockades were lifting. And humanity, no longer contained, would now help reshape the galactic order it had once merely accepted.